Oh no, I'm a salesperson and I'm scared. I can't do this. This is the most feared thing that salespeople have, and this is what prevents them, and it's probably preventing you growing and scaling your gym to the next level. And everyone falls victim to this. I don't care who you are. Some people say no, but that is everyone falls victim to it. And in fact, if you suffer from this, well, I don't want to give it away what it is, but go ahead, Jimmy. I'll let you talk a little bit before we give it away.
Okay. There's a certain thing that gets in the way of you actually taking the actions that need to be taken to get to where you want to go. And there's a lot of fear associated with sales. Fear of rejection. There's this fear of not doing well, right? You're kind of looking at it like, I need to close, I need to book, I need to get this person converted. And you're focusing on all the wrong things, and it gets in your head, and then eventually you just don't do the task that needs to be done, right? So we have to get ourselves in a mindset. And as much as at Fitness Profit Multiplier, we're a little bit less about mindset and a little bit more about tactics and numbers. There are mindset shifts that need to take place to be successful in this sales game. So there's one thing and we coined this term, right? It's not our term, but it's a term that is used a lot in sales that we need to work on getting over. So we're going to give you the tactics, tips, and strategies to get over this one thing. Okay.
Go ahead, give it to him, man.
Okay. So call reluctance. Call reluctance is a huge thing that exists in the sales game, where you need to make these dials, you need to dial these leads, you got to get them going, but something else gets in the way. You have all these excuses, right? It's like, oh, well, I had to change this client's billing, or I had to work with this client a little bit extra on this specific technique, or I had to do this administrative task, or clean the bathroom, or no, I had to order this thing for the gym, or whatever it is. And then you put all these things in your way. They're like, well, I had to do this, and that, so I didn't get to the calls today. It's okay, I'll get to them tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you don't get to them. And the next day comes and you don't get to them. And then it's 3 days later and that lead popped through your system 3 days ago. And the likelihood of you even getting in contact with them has gone down by a significant margin. And then you go to make the dials and you've waited too long to make them. So now they're not as successful. So it's this vicious cycle where your mindset around making dials is just completely screwed up. So call reluctance is huge. You sit there and you want to make the dials, and then you don't, and you don't do it, and you don't do it. We have to give you guys tips, strategies, and tactics to actually get around and away from this call reluctance that we see so often in gym owners. We can even tell you, like, we have people that we work with, and we have to constantly remind them, well, how many dials did you make? How quick did you dial this individual? Why do I only see one dial on this sheet? You got to remind your staff. Why do I see a dial once this day, and then 2 days later you dial them again? What is going on here? Because we need to get that call cadence down so that we can know what the right call cadence is to get somebody to convert. Sometimes it takes 6 calls, right? It's just what happens. But you have to continue to make these dials and push through and just move on from the next call. So what are some tips, tactics, and strategies? Anthony, I'd love to hear from you. I have a few in my mind, but what are some tips, tactics, and strategies that you've used to help your staff get over call reluctance?
Just fucking do it. There's no other way to it. I mean, look, guys, and this is what I was going to say before. Call reluctance is a real thing. It's definitely a real thing. It definitely is true. But it's not the fucking end of the world. Like, it's just not the end of the world. Think about it. What if you had to work knocking doors? What if your job was to sell solar panels and you had to literally go from house to house knocking on the door? Think about that type of rejection. I mean, we're just picking up the phone and people are just telling us, hey, fuck off, and hanging up on us. Like, it's not that bad. It's not the end of the world, right? Whereas imagine getting the door slammed in your face, and the only way you're going to make money is if you actually get them to not slam the door on your face. That's way worse. So let's be grateful that we don't have to do that. That's first and foremost. But one of the best things you could do is just not think about it, just dial. just dial, just pick up the phone and dial. And one of the ways I help my sales staff with this is they have certain KPIs every day that they have to hit a certain amount of calls every day, no matter what. So it's part of their job. You have to dial. That's it. There's no other way around it. You just have to do it. There's really no, the more you think about it, the more you're going to dread it. Oh shit, I don't want to call. I don't feel like getting this rejected. I don't want to do this. Like the more and more you build it up like that in your head, the harder and harder it's going to be to pick up the phone. So we stole this from Jimmy, but it's like power hour. That 12 o'clock hits, dial, boom, 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 boom. And in fact, if you could not physically put down the phone and just dial, boom, 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 send, ring, 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 pick up, no pick up, hang up, do it again. Like no time in between to just keep dialing. You're going to get less and less call reluctance. And it's just going to be, okay, I'm just working. But the more you dwell it, the more you're going to be like, oh, no, I don't want to make this call right now. I don't feel like doing this. It's building it up in your own head. So you want to not do that. Just do it. Just pick up the phone and dial.
And this type of thing happens with everything, right? Like when people say they have writer's block, it's not writer's block. It's just you didn't start. You have to just start. You have to start putting things on paper. You have to start moving the needle. And you just have to set the power hour, start dialing, start pushing through. Then you dial the next one, and just clear it out of your mind, because your goal is, and this is a great thought process that I heard recently that I'd love to share with you guys, is make it your goal to get 100 no's a day. Make it your goal to get 100 no's a day. The likelihood of you getting 100 no's is so low that you're never going to hit it. If you dial 100 people and every single one of those 100 people says no, then you can stop, right? But if you look at that and you go, my goal is to get no's, then you're going to keep dialing, you're going to talk them through, you're going to follow the process, and eventually you're going to get a yes. This call reluctance hits not only when you first start dialing, but after about 15 calls, it hits you again. And you're like, man, I've been doing this for so long. Oh my gosh, I've been dialing for so long. And then you look at your tally, because you make tallies every time you make a dial, you make a tally on your piece of paper that you're taking notes on. Tally, 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 tally. Man, I've been doing this for so long. You look at your piece of paper, 15. Not that long, especially if all you did was leave voicemails or just dial the next person. 15, how long does that take you? A minute per. And if you connect with somebody, great. You have a 15-minute conversation with that individual, okay? But you have your power hour set. So like if you connect with 4 or 5 people and you have a 15-minute call with 4 people, one of those people is going to book an appointment. So that's a great hour spent. So we have to look at it from the fact of, you want to make a certain amount of dials a day because you want to connect with a certain amount of people. It takes a certain amount of dials to connect with a certain amount of people. It's just the way that it goes. So you got to make 50 dials a day minimum. And we just have to set that power hour, dial, 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 dial. Okay, cool. You connected with one person out of 50 dials. That person booked an appointment. Great. That was an hour well spent. Because in your business, if you're the owner of this business and you look at the value of that hour spent, say you dialed for the full hour and you got 2 people booked for appointments, one of them showed up and bought training. What is your training rate, right? Even if you only charge $100 a month and your average stay time is 5 months, you made $500 by dialing for an hour. That sounds like it's worth it to me. So you have to compartmentalize what the value of that work is. You have to put yourself in a positive mental state. You have to dial the dials. And then once you're done with that power hour, do something that fills your bucket. Go work out. Go on a walk with your dog. Go joke around with your teammates, right? Something that brings you up. Do it before and do it after, because then it doesn't seem as bad. So that's generally what we want to do. One of the other tactics I like my team to use is they set a mirror up in front of them, or they go to the bathroom and smile in front of the mirror so they can see themselves smiling. So it puts them in a better mental state around it, because they're about to go into the lion's pit where they're going to get a bunch of people that are like, no, fuck you, no, fuck you, over and over and over again. But it's getting through those no's to get to the yeses that grows your business and actually allows you to scale.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's good. I really like the idea of like tallying it. And it's a simple thing, but just like the way you said it, just kind of like ringed in my mind. Like, and I used to do it too, but it's just like keeping a piece of paper next to you and just one. And then because that happens, like what you said, at the 15 call mark, you're like, oh, fuck, I've been doing this for so long. I'm so sick and tired of doing this. And then like you look at the paper and you're like, fuck, I didn't have that many calls.
Yeah.
So I like just visually keeping like a mark. We do it a little bit different, but I like just visually like, okay, just swipe. And it lets you really see like the reality. And we talk about this all the time, but the numbers never lie, right? Like numbers never lie. Numbers are the most important thing. You got to run your business off data and not feelings, because your feelings don't matter. Basically what it comes down to. But if you guys want help with any of this stuff, if you want us to help you look over your sales scripts, fix your sales program, and really escalate and scale your business to the next level, just click the link below and you can find out all the information there to work with us. And until next time, Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier, we are out.